In the heart of the bustling city of Arcadia, where towering skyscrapers pierced the sky and neon lights painted the streets with vibrant hues, there stood a building forgotten by time. Its facade, once grand, was now weathered and cracked, its windows boarded up as if to hide the secrets within. This was the Museum of Antiquities, a place whispered about in hushed tones by the locals, rumored to hold artifacts of great power and mystery. Among the artifacts housed within the museum was the legendary shadowed hourglass, an ancient relic said to possess the ability to manipulate time itself. Many had sought to claim it over the centuries, but none had succeeded. Some said it was guarded by a curse, while others believed it was simply too well hidden. One stormy night, amidst the howling winds and torrential rain, a figure cloaked in darkness slipped through the shadows of the city streets. This was Alexander Drake, a renowned archaeologist and seeker of forgotten treasures. For years, he had been obsessed with the legend of the shadowed hourglass, and now, finally, he stood before the decrepit facade of the Museum of Antiquities. With a sense of determination burning within him, Alexander picked the lock on the museum's door and slipped inside. The air was thick with dust and the scent of decay as he made his way through the dimly lit halls, his footsteps echoing off the walls like whispers of the past. As Alexander ventured deeper into the museum, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Shadows danced at the edges of his vision, and strange whispers echoed in his ears. But he pressed on, driven by the promise of untold power. Finally, he reached the chamber rumored to house the shadowed hourglass. It was a small, dimly lit room with walls lined with ancient artifacts and relics. And there, sitting atop a pedestal in the center of the room, was the object of his obsession. The shadowed hourglass was a thing of beauty and terror, its glass dark as midnight and its sand frozen in time. As Alexander approached, he could feel its power calling out to him, promising him everything he had ever desired. But as he reached out to claim it, a voice echoed through the chamber, chilling him to the bone. "Who dares disturb the sanctity of this place?" Startled, Alexander spun around to see a figure emerging from the shadows. It was an old man, his eyes gleaming with a wisdom that seemed to span centuries. "I am the guardian of this museum," the old man said, his voice echoing with an otherworldly power. "And you, Alexander Drake, are not welcome here." But Alexander was not one to be deterred so easily. Ignoring the warning in the old man's voice, he reached out once more for the shadowed hourglass, his fingers inches away from its surface. In an instant, the room erupted into chaos. The artifacts lining the walls began to shake and tremble, their ancient power awakened by Alexander's greed. And as he grasped the shadowed hourglass in his hand, he felt a surge of energy coursing through him, filling him with a sense of euphoria unlike anything he had ever experienced. But his triumph was short-lived, for with a deafening crack, the hourglass shattered into 1,000 pieces, unleashing a wave of darkness that engulfed the room. When the darkness cleared, Alexander found himself standing in a world unlike any he had ever known. The skies were black as pitch, and the ground beneath his feet was cracked and barren. And looming in the distance, he saw a towering fortress bathed in an eerie blue light. Realizing he had been transported to another realm by the power of the hourglass, Alexander knew he had to find a way back home. But as he set out on his journey, he soon discovered that this realm was fraught with dangers beyond his wildest imagination. Monstrous creatures lurked in the shadows, their eyes glowing with malevolence as they hunted for prey. And everywhere he turned, Alexander could feel the lingering presence of something ancient and powerful, watching his every move with cold indifference. But despite the dangers that surrounded him, Alexander refused to give up hope. With each step he took, he grew stronger and more determined, driven by the belief that somewhere in this desolate realm, there lay a way back to his own world. And so, with courage in his heart and the memory of the shadowed hourglass burning in his mind, Alexander Drake set out into the unknown, ready to face whatever trials lay ahead in his quest to return home. For he knew that no matter how dark the path may be, the light of hope would always guide his way.